Welcome back, campers, to the next episode of Ghost Storing. I'm psychic medium Amy Shuford, and this is where we come together every week to tell all the tales of my experiences with spirit. Some of them are at spooky locations, some of them are just as I go through my everyday life as a medium, as I stand between you and spirit. This week's episode takes place actually in my old home, and I'm calling this week's episode Ghosts of Lifetimes Past. So let's get started. All right, so this episode this interaction took place in my home, where it was Leland, North Carolina, that I was living at the time, and I was in the process of selling my home. So in working with my realtor, we decided that it would be best for me to paint some of the walls, like the below picture, where, listen, I love a lot of color, but I know people want to envision the home in a neutral setting, so they could see their stuff in it. So I was painting, obviously, redoing some flooring, and you never have as much time as you really think you have, because I painted that house like 15 years prior and kind of forgot how much work that was. Can you relate? So, of course, I was a little behind schedule, and I was in the bedroom, which is below. The suite was all chocolate brown, including the ensuite. So painting it a neutral color, and y'all, I was exhausted. It was, I don't know, well into the night. And as a medium, I've said before on this channel, but maybe this is the first time that you've tuned in, I spent a lot of time in my childhood, and honestly, up until I was about 50 years old, really just pushing my abilities away, really just trying to stay closed as much as possible, although it's not entirely possible when you have that kind of gift, but we try. So I always have noise, TV, music, and of course, hey, painting, music, I don't know about you, but music with a nice beat just helps me work a little bit faster. So the other thing I want to talk about, though, before we get into exactly what took place, is past lives. So past lives, let's talk about that for a second. Growing up, I don't know when I first found out about that, how I discovered that, I don't know. But when I did, I didn't give it too much thought. I thought it was interesting. I was certainly intrigued, but I didn't really have a strong feeling one way or another. I certainly wasn't of the belief that you only get one life. It may have been what I was taught, but I never felt like there couldn't be. I didn't have a strong feeling. And at a certain point in working, in accepting my gift and working with clients, Reiki clients at first, I used to do in a sticks and bricks Reiki, and I would do readings. And I think even before I started to do a reading, people would come in from other lives, not just ancestors, right? Because they would tell me that, even when I wasn't going to be sharing that. And then, as some of y'all know, I've been working on healing a pivotal past life of mine for a lot longer. I don't want to say as longer as I should have, because everything really unfolds as it should, but I certainly didn't think I would be going through it for this many years. But that's the thing about healing, y'all. Whether it's a past life or something that happened in childhood or something that happened 2 years ago. Sometimes what we do, just like I would try to stuff and hide away my abilities, is that, it's hard to feel the emotions and process. And we're spiritual beings having a mortal existence. And that concept has always resonated with me very clearly. And that's when I would go, well, why not? We're spiritual beings having a mortal existence, so why couldn't we have been here before? But to feel those human emotions, sometimes it's so difficult when you're going through any kind of grief, because grief can be loss of any kind of relationship, loss of a job, of course, loved ones, loss of a friendship, a betrayal, all these different things. Trauma brings up some of the same feelings, and sometimes it's easier, at least we think it is, to just box them up and lock them away and just kind of move on. But it always comes back, doesn't it? So this is part of my story. All right, so here's my bedroom completely finished painting. This was all chocolate brown. And then to my left now, there was the ensuite, and that was chocolate brown too. So this spirit encounter took place when I still had, and I wish I had a picture. I know I do somewhere, but I couldn't find it. I had moved all my furniture to the middle of the room and, covered it in like those plastic drop cloths. And oh my God, it took like 3 or 4 days to finish this. And I was so exhausted. At that point, the music had stopped playing and I was so tired. Have you ever been so tired that I was just like, listen, I can't even cross the room, make my way through this puzzle around the drop cloths to get to my music and start it back up. Yeah. It was before Apple Music, before I had Apple Music. Anyhow, so it was really dark and I had this light that was way too bright. And I say that because it kind of, it would cast my shadow. And I like noticed movement. And I'm like, oh, that just must be my shadow. But then I saw my shadow and I saw something move really quick. And I was like, oh my gosh. Because the room felt very close. It felt very close. And I felt this energy. And it felt kind of like this, I want to say whirring, which is a sound, I know. But have you ever been on a movie set or you've watched something being filmed where they have like a track, it's like a round track, and they circle around you, or, around the actor so they can get that 360 shot? Well, I felt someone, they were moving around me. I saw the shadow and then go like around, and then I just felt it closing in on me. And I felt this energy. It was an angry energy. It was a male energy. Older. Predator. And he was disgusted. And then I saw a flash, showed me what he looked like. And he looked like, to me, the dude on the $20 bill. That long hair, the clothes. And he told me that he was a friend of my father. Not my father in this life, who has passed. I won the lottery with him, okay? The best, the spiritual lottery. No, this man was my father from 1792. So before this gentleman, well, I don't know if you can call him that, this man, this associate of my father from lifetimes past, appeared, before he showed me his face, which was full of disgust, I heard him say, "Here you go again." And I didn't know what that meant at the time. I certainly do now. Which is interesting because in telling this story, I've told this story before, but even telling it now, I have much more perspective on it. But 1792. What you need to know about my father then, my father was a brutal man. And he fancied himself a big man. Very important. A big wig. I was going to say, as they say in the day, but they say it now too, right? Big wig, that's where it came from. The higher the wig. But he told me that, he told me a secret. about my father. Something that, yeah, as a child, I wouldn't have known. I would never have known. Because, we don't always we don't always understand as a child. We don't always see things maybe for what they really are, because we are innocent in that time frame. And yeah, let's just say he wasn't the head honcho as he portrayed, and that's the least of it. But he gave me this information that is very important for me in this life to understand that. And my house was clutter haven at that time. As the furniture you see here in the living room was all pulled together, that's how the bedroom was, but with the tarps over it. And I say that because when you are in a tight space, there's a reason that hallways, tunnels, these things feel even more creepy or spooky, is because the energy is compressed and you feel it more. Well, I felt trapped. I mean, he was so close to me. And just think about the skeeziest violent person that you can think of in your mind being really close to you and how that would feel. But then just something came over me. I don't know, something that comes over you that just gives you a strength and weirdly, I don't know how to say it, but weirdly a peace, because you know that they can't do anything to you. And also, I knew, okay, why is this man here? This man is trying to help me. He is trying to heal. So he's trying to help himself and help me. Because some of the things that he did were really horrible. And our interactions in the 1700s, how he treated me, the things he did to me, and people were really awful. But we are souls. We are all souls. And he then showed me a picture. I had something flash in my head. It was a picture of a person that I know only from the internet. And he told me that that person has information. He has a secret that will help me in this journey of healing this life. Thank you so much for being here. If you haven't already, hit the like button, leave a comment, subscribe to my channel, and let's meet weekly around the virtual campfire. So what is interesting to me is that this man from my past came to see me in the home that I lived in this life, to give me information about my father, albeit maybe reluctantly, or maybe he just, I don't know, because basically he doesn't want me to meet up in person with this person and inquire about, I'm not even sure how I would do it, but inquire about my past life. but yet he came to me, right? So I don't know, is that one of those things that where, you know, you drop a letter in a mailbox and then you're like, oh no, should I not have? Or you just know it's inevitable, you know, I guess not too many people do the snail mail, but maybe you sent an email, hit send. Or they're full of forgiveness for themselves, for others, they want to help, and then all of a sudden something snaps them back into anger. I don't know. That is very interesting to me. It still puzzles me. But I will say, even in telling him this, I think this was 2020 and it's 2024. And what has Amy Schufer done? Who has she not talked to? But I need to make that a quest. I need to do that. And campers, would y'all be interested in finding out what happens when I ask this person if we could meet face to face, because I need their help with something. Do you want to know how that goes? I actually did at one point work up the courage, but it was like at that point so far into the pandemic, and I was like, no, I need to see their face. I want to see them really well. I don't want to be 6 feet away from them. Because, I have multiple sclerosis, so to be saying, you be wearing that mask, I'd be wearing that mask, we'd be good. But I want to see all the emotions. And after that, again, I chickened out again. Why? Because the human emotion, cracking that open, peeling the layers away, feeling that raw human emotion, I'm telling you, it felt like yesterday, not several hundred years ago. Yeah. So let me know. What do you think? Should I? Are you interested? What do you guys think about past lives? Let me know in the comments. So thank you for joining me in this episode of Ghost Stories. Hit the like button, comment, subscribe if you haven't already, and please share this out. Tell your family and friends. I really appreciate you, and I love you all. I'll see you next time here on Ghost Storying.